I still get phantom pain every now and then. And I don't even miss you, just the parts of me you took with you when you left. Thought I was in love, but now I think that I was just codependent. You weren't vital to my survival, it's just what it felt like. It didn't kill me to lose you, I just thought that it might. And right when I think I'm finally fine, the healing is done. It's been enough time, that's when it sinks back in. The invisible and incurable phantom pain of losing a limb. Losing you felt like an amputation. And I have to remind myself I couldn't have cut you off if it weren't for the best. And I don't even miss you, I just miss how whole I felt before we met. Thought I was in love, but now I think that I was just codependent. You weren't vital to my survival, it's just what it felt like. It didn't kill me to lose you, I just thought that it might. And right when I think I'm finally fine, the healing is done. It's been enough time, that's when it sinks back in. The invisible and incurable phantom pain of losing a limb. And it felt so good to be wanted that I willingly ignored the ache. Yeah, it felt so good to be wanted that I convinced myself love must be pain. It must be pain. You weren't vital to my survival, it's just what it felt like. It didn't kill me to lose you, I just thought that it might. And right when I think I'm finally fine, the scars have all faded. It's been enough time, that's when it sinks back in. The invisible and incurable, the impossible, irreversible, pins and needles, 1,000 cuts, life-changing phantom pain of losing a limb. I met someone, I loved them, and I lost their love all within the same month. I know some of you may think that that happened really fast. Some of you probably question what I consider love to be because of how fast I claim that it happened. And honestly, I did too, because that 1 month fling took me 2, 3, 4 times as long to get over as it had lasted in the first place. I couldn't understand why this failed talking stage had hurt me so badly. We had never even officially been together or broken up, and yet our split had affected me more than any other emotional catharsis I had ever been through, even after. They had admitted they didn't want a romantic relationship with me. I still thought about them during sunsets. I had a minor panic attack just telling my roommates that things were over. I went and stayed the week with my parents, just so someone other than me was responsible for taking care of me. Despite all of that, I was pretty sure I didn't miss them. I mean, how can I miss someone I knew didn't miss me back? Thinking about that I had loved them made me nothing but nervous. Anxiety atrophying my entire being, but I never cried over losing them. But I did lose sleep and weight and the contents of my stomach, thinking about how much of myself I had lost. Months had gone by, and I still felt completely powerless over my feelings for them because I had loved them with intention. And when you love someone, truly love someone, whether platonic or romantic, you have no choice but to mean it. You spend your time, your energy, your money on and with purpose. Time, energy, money, dimes, nickels, quarters, pennies. And when someone spends their social currency on you, it can make you feel worthwhile. It can make you feel valuable. And that good of a feeling can be blinding. Being wanted is often enough to make us leap before we look. Being wanted can feel a lot like being loved. Being desired by another person is a very, very powerful thing. But can love really be built on just time, energy, money? Obviously, those aspects of any relationship are important, but what is love without affection? Without trust, without respect? Can it exist in a vacuum, or can desire outweigh the need for affection, for trust, for respect? I realized over my several-month-long relationship hangover that the person I was previously convinced I was in love with didn't really place any particular importance on showing me affection or trust or earning my respect or letting me earn theirs, even though they had spent a lot of social currency on me. We had figured out how to spend almost every part of every day together, and that amount of time led me to believe that there was more there than there actually was. But the amount of time didn't really matter, rather the content of the time we were spending. So when someone doesn't love you back, especially if they've spent a lot of social currency on you, it can feel as though it's also done with intention. That they wanted to rob you of your social currency. They wanted to make you feel worthless, to humiliate you, to devastate you. When in actuality, the act of non-love is not necessarily one of hatred, but rather, at worst, one of indifference or passivity, and at best, one that's compounded with guilt. You weren't the right person at the wrong time. You just didn't like me that much. You weren't some evil mastermind. You didn't try to hurt me on purpose, but I thought that you wanted to attempt and ruin my life. But then I realized you just didn't like me that much, and it wasn't deliberate. There was no big plan or some grand scheme. I wasn't a target. It would have been someone else if it wasn't me, but I am an idiot. So it's not your fault that I fell in love with someone who just didn't like me that much. And people say that opposites attract, and that the opposite of love's indifference. And I guess that when I look at us like that, it kinda makes total perfect sense. Why? You just didn't like me that much. You weren't the one that got away. You just didn't like me that much. You weren't my soulmate, and I thought that that must make you my nemesis. Deemed you diabolical, with vicious, malicious, and villainous intentions. But then I realized you just didn't like me that much. And people say that opposites attract, and that the opposite of love's indifference. And I guess that when I look at us like that, it kinda makes total perfect sense. Why? You just didn't like me that much. But I don't blame you. I know you didn't mean to make me a casualty of your curiosity, and I don't 'cause I know you didn't mean to make me a casualty of your curiosity. And people say that opposites attract, and that the opposite of love's indifference. And I guess that when I look at us like that, it kinda makes total perfect sense. Why? You just didn't like me that much. Thank you. This kind of breakup made me realize that this was not the first time I had mistaken someone's attention on me for love. Their kindness for affection, their courtesy for interest. In fact, I do it all the time when I see someone even remotely my age at the grocery store or the airport, or when a stranger holds my door open or smiles at me. I assume that they must be thinking about me. And obviously, that is a hyperbolic example, but that sort of extremity in believing that every stranger must love or hate you, or every gesture is a romantic one, contributes to the blurred line between love and attention. I think there's a lot of nuance in figuring out whether or not someone loves you or is just paying attention to you. And there are times when you can't know, because there are times when the other person doesn't know. However, the biggest indicator for me is whether or not the relationship is rooted in anxiety. Do I love you, and so I am scared to lose you, or do I love you because I am scared to lose you? The fear of loss or the fear of not being able to find something better often keeps people complacent in the attention-based relationships that they're in. I think that the easiest way to avoid settling for just attention rather than love is to remember that someone's lack of love toward you does not affect your value or your morality as a person. It does not make you bad or evil to not be cared for romantically by someone you wanted to like you back. And similarly, it doesn't make you bad or evil to have made a bad investment of social currency into someone else. Love is not limited. There's no finite amount of it that you can earn or can spend in a lifetime. So knowing that it can only be created and can never be destroyed, I think that it is important that we continue to take chances on others, while also keeping in mind that if you realize that someone is not for you, or someone realizes that you are not for them, love works through reincarnation. It will come again, whether in the same way or not. If you lose it, it will always return to you. So, don't settle for someone who is unwilling to do more than just pay attention to you. You are deserving of love as well as attention, not just the latter. I think I knew it right when I called my mom after our third date. She said I looked disgustingly smitten. I joked that I would marry you one day. I think I knew it right when my dad discreetly mouthed, "I love him," from across the room. That I did too, and I can't imagine getting old, but I hope I get to be with you. They're right, you really do know when you know, and if he wanted to, he would. I used to think that I knew what it was, how it felt, how it smelled, what it looked like, but now I know I've never been in love before you. It was never meant to be mine, 'cause you're the right person, so it's the right time. I think I knew it right when you took me to your best friend's band's gig. You made public displays of affection, even though it was the first time I met your friends. I think I knew it right when We got drunk at my family's Thanksgiving. I was talking shit and politics, and you still told me I looked pretty. And I can't imagine getting old, but I hope I get to be with you. They're right, you really do know when you know. And if he wanted to, he would. I used to think that I knew what it was, how it felt, how it smelled, what it looked like. But now I know I've never been in love before you. It was never meant to be mine. 'Cause you're the right person, so it's the right time. I spent way too many years thinking that love had passed me by. I spent way too many nights crying and asking myself why. What about me? Can I change? What about me don't you like? What about me isn't enough? What about me isn't right? Just to meet the boy who swallowed the sun in real life. Just to be at exactly the right place at exactly the right time. And I can't imagine getting old, but I hope I get to be with you. They're right, you really do know when you know. And if he wanted to, he would. I used to think that I knew what it was, how it felt, how it smelled, what it looked like. Now I know I've never been in love before you. It was never meant to be mine. 'Cause you're the right person, so it's the right time. You're the right person, so it's the right time. It's the right time. Thank you.